Welcome to UpCloseTV, brought to you by the Department of Communications and Community Engagement. This program takes a closer look at AISD's programs and departments. Welcome to UpCloseTV. I'm your host, Linda Medina Lopez. Joining us today is the Executive Director of Communications and Community Engagement, Reyne. Reyne, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. How are you today?
Good, thank you. I'd like to get to know you a little bit more. Can you share with us your background and your previous role?
Okay, so I was born and raised in New Mexico, a medium-sized town called Alamogordo, New Mexico, kind of in the southern part. And I went to school at Eastern New Mexico University for my undergrad. It's a very small college. Actually, now I'm working on a graduate degree at UT at the LBJ school, so I am getting to experience life I had experienced life in a very small university, and now at UT, what life is like at one of the nation's larger schools. And probably, maybe not surprising to my folks, my first job in high school was as a radio DJ. So I've always liked kind of talking and communicating, and have had a very fortunate background in the types of jobs that I've been able to hold. And so I majored in communication and political science. Those are two areas, how people communicate in the political world, that I've always kind of had an interest in. And so I've had the opportunity to work as a press secretary for the New Mexico State Senate, and also as a reporter with a CBS affiliate, and then most recently a couple of positions here in Austin as manager of media relations. As you know, Austin's just growing so much. We're now the 11th largest city, and I think we were maybe even the 13th when I took the job. And so that shows how quickly our community, and really then our school district, is growing. So manager of media relations with the city of Austin, and then most recently, the director of communication for former Mayor Lee Leffingwell, who after 2 terms was not able to run again, and his term actually ended in December of 2014. And so as the position as executive director of communication and community engagement came available, I looked at it and was really interested in it. I have a younger sister who is a kindergarten teacher in New Mexico, and my mom is a retired cafeteria school worker. And so understanding and knowing what a school district and educational system does at all levels, right? From the janitor to the cafeteria worker, certainly the teachers and everybody whose lives, the small lives for our students that they come into contact with, all of our faculty and staff really can help shape that. And it's something that I understand from my family's work and what they did for profession. So I'm glad to be here.
Speaking of education within your family, can you share with us what inspires you to do this type of work? You mentioned there are a lot of family members that are educators.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've always had a passion to want to communicate and communicate effectively, which can be a challenge to some of those that don't receive traditional media, some of those that won't come to the traditional town hall meeting for a city or for a school district. And how do you get your message out to those people in a way that they can understand? And that's important. Beginning at the very basic level with the language that you're going to communicate with them. But also, I remember when I was a television news reporter, the consultants would tell me, I was a political reporter, so you're dealing with these very kind of complex issues, and they would say to me, explain your story, no matter how complex it is, to possibly a construction worker who just got home, cracks open a beer, and wants to know what the legislature, the city council, what the elected body is doing. And so when you think you need to really boil it down so that everybody can understand, that's when you brought a lot of people on board. And so people that inspire me are both because of my appreciation for the political work, but those that are able to and have been known for communicating effectively. Like from Ronald Reagan to JFK, we've had some great politicians that really understand how to communicate and get the message across and build coalitions, and that's important.
Can you describe to us what is your role as the Executive Director of Communications and Community Engagement?
Well, it is overseeing a staff, and if you kind of break it into 2 groups, we have the communication side, and both of these really do overlap and work together and in sync and unison. But on the communication side, you have the the individuals, a couple of individuals that deal with the media. There's a lot of interest. The Austin Independent School District is the 5th largest school district in the state of Texas, and we have the ability and often are our trendsetters. And so what we're doing, how we're doing it, and how we're going to react when we get inquiries from the media, those folks handle that. Then we have a handful of communication and public affairs individuals. They do things from helping the superintendent write speeches and correspondence to how we're going to maybe compose letters for principals on behalf of a certain situation that may be occurring. And then, of course, our webmaster, Camille, one individual who kind of helps us in trying to coordinate the website for such a large district with 129 schools, one employee, so he actually does a lot. Then on the community engagement side, we have the translation and interpretation team. They're the ones that are taking documents for the teachers, for the principals, for the school district, and making sure that those documents are accessible in the different languages that we have spoken or read within the school district. The parent support offices, what if any of the viewers are unfamiliar, but we have placed parent support specialists in some of our schools, the majority of our schools, and their job is to become engaged with those that are really on the ground, the parents, and they're in each of the campuses, helping the parents become involved and understand the process, and sometimes they're first generation or immigrant parents, and so helping them become involved and understand an American school system, or even helping families who have been here for generations be more successful with their students. And then community engagement coordinators are important, and they're helping us not only do a mix of traditional meetings, but how to become involved with different organizations, different businesses, as well as parents. So we rely on our couple of community engagement coordinators, and we also have an ombudsman. So whenever a parent or a stakeholder feels like they've kind of maybe reached an impasse with a principal or a teacher or the district in general, it's kind of a peacekeeper role in being able to bring the parties together and reach some sort of mutual agreement. And so those are the primary kind of divisions within the Department of Communications and Community Engagement.
So you've described the structure of the department. Can you share with us some of your goals?
I think some of the goals are always to be sure that we are engaging as effectively as we can be. And that is a challenge for any organization, as is the challenge to be consistently communicating as effectively. The Austin Independent School District does that well sometimes and not so well in other times. And so being able to do that well consistently is one of the goals I think that we would have, to be able to bring in to the tent, as they say, those that might not normally come into the tent, and be able to easily get information out so that it's accessible. And you know, the environment is changing so rapidly. We are relying more and more on getting our message out, whereas even 5 years ago, maybe you might just put out a news release and put some stuff on your website. The way we communicate with social media, and through social media, I should say, is really important. For instance, about a month ago, we had a cancellation because of the weather for school. And the numbers I just really found surprising. I wanted to share with some of the viewers. So we posted the fact on the night before that school was going to be canceled on Facebook for the next day. That particular post, according to our Facebook research, reached over 49,000 people, got over 500 likes, and we now have over close to 14,000 followers on our Facebook page. So we encourage all the viewers to follow the Austin Independent School District's Facebook page for news and information, but also on the Twitter, the same posting that school was canceled. Over 76,000 views, over 1,200 retweets, and 551 favorites. I think those were probably a lot of the students glad that they didn't have to go to school the next day. And so our homepage maybe averages about, our website averages maybe close to 30,000 visitors, and within that 24 period we had over 86,000 visitors. So the way we communicate electronically is something that we're embracing more and more, and I think are effective at doing.
You mentioned some communication tools. Can you mention some community engagement tools?
Well, one that I'm excited about is actually one that has not fully launched, but it is on the cusp of being launched, and that is going to be an online platform, because we know it can be difficult, particularly for the demographics of a lot of our students that say maybe their mother works, or they're a single parent. Let me create this scenario. They're a single parent. The single parent maybe has to work 2 jobs in order to keep the household running. That single parent may not be the person who shows up at your traditional community meeting, but does want to have a say in the direction and take a stake as far as expressing her or his opinion that the school district should take. So what this is going to be is an online platform for them to be able to express their views on certain issues. So the school district can propose a topic, and they can offer up on their own time. After, say, that individual gets off work on their second job, we, of course, would never have a community meeting at a school that began at midnight. But if that's the only time that this particular parent has to offer their opinions, they can log on, read the question, and offer up those opinions. And those opinions are going to come back to us and are going to be aggregated, just as the opinion would be of the individual who has the ability to take off or be at an evening meeting to offer up their opinion. And so different ways and different times that a parent may be able to offer their opinions to us so that we can take them in. And when I say parent, I don't just mean parent. It can be a stakeholder. You can live, because, right, all of the vast majority of those that live in the city of Austin do pay into the Austin Independent School District through their property taxes if you own. So those stakeholders we're interested in hearing from as well. You have to be able to communicate and engage in a variety of platforms in today's day and age, and that's important so that you can reach people in the way that they wanted to be, in the way they want to be reached. The mold has been shattered. It used to be that you can have a community meeting in the school and in the PTA meeting, and if you didn't have the time or you didn't go, then you kind of lost your right for your opinion to be included. And that's not the case anymore, and nor do we want that to be the case. So engaging parents and stakeholders in the way and in the fashions that they may want to be able to be engaged is important to us. So really, having successful students within our own program, which is the goal for us at the end of the day, is having engaged and involved parents and stakeholders. And that only doesn't stop with the parents. It's also with businesses and outside organizations, and developing the partnerships to be able to create an environment for students to be able to be successful.
You've talked about some of the communication tools. Can you share with us what are some of the district-wide opportunities that parents and community members can engage in?
Well, at the very core and at the grassroots level, it's knowing that you have the opportunity to engage in your student's classroom. So dealing with the teacher and possibly becoming engaged at the very grassroots level there. But then as you kind of begin to expand that and maybe even expand your imprint and input and ability to help out, there are parent-teacher associations that you can become involved with, as well as campus and community advisory groups within the district who offer opinions from, say, the African American Advisory Council to the Hispanic Advisory Council, different types of groups and organizations that you can become involved with, and also even raising to a level above that, our Board of Trustees, the elected Board of Trustees, have the opportunity at their board meetings for individuals to come and offer up their comments and opinions and suggestions that they may have during a period called public comment. And so our trustees are always very open to those voices that they hear during the public comment opportunity.
You've talked about the department's work and tools and opportunities for parents and community members to get involved with. Can you share with us some additional projects that you're currently working on?
One of those would be our website redesign, and we're looking to hopefully roll out a version of that to be pilot tested here in the near future, so that our website can reflect the kind of progressive environment that our superintendent, Dr. Paul Cruz, hopes to envision and look. It has a nice, clean look and feel. Also, as we enter an era that where, and I'm not oblivious to the fact that our parents and students are marketed to very aggressively by charter schools and private schools. We have begun looking at what a marketing campaign could look like for the Austin Independent School District. And that really is, even at the basic level, providing the campuses, all 129, the basic tools that they may need in order to sell themselves and sell their points of pride, are what we call them, what they're proud of and what they should be proud of, to more holistically what a marketing campaign may look like for the entire district. And whether or not you might go in a traditional form where you take out commercial time on TV, or you, with the reliance we see, and I spoke about, that people have on their mobile devices, search engine optimization possibilities. So if you know somebody has typed in and is looking for a home in a certain area of town, lo and behold, it pops up, hey, look, they're looking in the Zilker neighborhood, and here is something that you can read about the successes in Zilker Elementary School. That's one example.
What are some of the most important decisions you make as the leader of this department?
Well, the department is stellar and great to work with, and small. When I was working in TV, there was an organization that would go in a conglomerate and buy other TV stations that were small and needed to do a lot of work. The kind of TV stations where the cameraman was also the reporter, but there was also the editor sometimes, which is sometimes also the anchor, and they were called quorum broadcasting. And those of them that are familiar with meeting terminology, a quorum is the least amount of people that you can have in order to get the meeting happening or done. And I sometimes think we have a quorum staff because they're so dedicated, but it's almost the least amount of people that you can have. And when you work in that type of environment, with the need to communicate with the families of 85,000 students from 129 different campuses, different communities almost, the staff choices that you make, I think, are critical, because the work and the demand is so key. And so staffing is probably among the most important decisions. But then speaking to what I spoke about when I competed in speech and debate in high school, in persuading people and or using the right words. Using the right words in order to communicate what it is we're going to communicate on behalf of the district are very important factors.
You've mentioned a diverse population of families. Mm-hmm. What are some tools or programming that you have for Spanish-speaking families?
The department has a translation and interpretation office. And so if a teacher, a principal, those that have their boots on the ground kind of employees have material that they don't have the resources within their own school in order to be translated, they can submit that to our office, and the letters will then be sent back to them, translated in the language that they are asking for, depending on their population. The flyer, the newsletter, whatever it is that they need, we're on standby in order to help them out. But also on the interpretation side, they have the principals and the teachers have the ability to request interpreters. So when you have that parent-teacher conference, right, and maybe the communication is going to be an issue, you can have an interpreter there in order to bridge the two languages and make the communication more effective.
What about TV or radio? Are there any specific programming?
Yes, the very fact that we're here today and recording this show is thanks to Channel 22. And again, one of those quorum staff where they get a remarkable amount of work and effort done. They're part of the communications and community engagement team with the few personnel resources that they have. They've been in existence since 1982, and they do some great things, original programming, sharing the successes of a lot of our students, sharing and showcasing the all-district kind of fine arts activities, all-district band concerts, those things, so that the parents that maybe can't attend because they have that second job, they can have the opportunity to see how the concert was and hear the music. They also broadcast our Board of Trustee meetings, and so those that are interested at the policy level as to what has happened and maybe couldn't make the meeting go downtown for the meeting, you can tune in and watch it live, or then it's archived on their website, AISD.tv. You can go back and actually see the interactions that may have happened, as all of their broadcasting is archived there. So there's a library of things for folks to see if they don't have the opportunity to actually be there in person. And so they do a very good job in selling the successes and helping us get out the word about successes. You know, I mentioned all of the ways that we got out social media-wise, the news about the weather delay, but also we have made it a point that whenever there's going to be a weather delay or cancellation, the Channel 22 AISD TV is going to be and has been playing a key role in that. So if you ever have a question, maybe your internet's down at home and you don't have a way to check the website, you can turn on to Channel 22 and find out what's going to happen in your student's classroom, or if they're going to have class the next day. So they play an important role. In addition to that, we do have community meetings with them, and we're going to be having one coming up in the next couple of months related to the budget, where it's interactive, where the meeting is happening live downtown, but we're going to be taking questions via social media, and for those that cannot be there in person, as the meeting is being broadcast live. So there's that merging of technologies, in that you can't be at the meeting, you're watching it on TV, and there's going to be venues for you to submit your questions and actually have them answered, so that you can express what a priority is as far as the upcoming budget is concerned.
Let's go back to some of your personal notes. Can you share with us the latest movie that you saw on TV?
The latest movie?
Or the theater?
Well, I am a movie fan. I enjoy going to the movies, and particularly those, I try to make it a point to watch all of the films that are nominated for Best Picture, just to be able to expand whether I like a war movie or not, or whether I like the type of movie that's being shown, just to see what the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences is saying is among the best movies. And so the past couple have been Foxcatcher, and then most recently it was The Theory of Everything, and that's a true story. And what I liked about that is, again, getting the message across. That's a true story about the impact that one individual had, despite the fact of the disease that he had. So it's a story of Stephen F. Hawking and what he's been able to do in his life, despite the challenges that he's faced with his disease. And so I think I found that really interesting from the communication standpoint, because they were able to effectively, again, communicate all of the successes and what he's been able to do in his career and life, regardless of his disease and the challenges that he had.
Can you share with us something that most people don't know about you?
I competed very heavily in high school speech and debate, and was a district champion for oratory, which is a form of persuasive speaking. And so knowing how to choose words that kind of guide people in a certain direction persuasively. Interesting note is, and we are the same age, I competed in high school speech and debate against Neil Patrick Harris. We're both from New Mexico, and so that was his post-Doogie Howser days, and now he's gone on to How I Met Your Mother, but he was very involved in speech and debate in New Mexico as well.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, I think that certainly I understand the success of students and the success of our 12,000 employees often has to stems on their ability to hear news from the district and appreciate the district. And that's going to be a key component in what I'm working with and toward within the Austin Independent School District as the Executive Director for Communication and Community Engagement, and engaging those parents and stakeholders and businesses and nonprofits so that we can create an environment of producing successful and job-ready and college-ready students, that many of which are going to be staying here in the Austin area and contributing to our economy. And so it just kind of cycles through, and it all works out to be a benefit for the city of Austin and Central Texas and Texas as a whole, whenever we're able to end up with a successful student.
I like that. College, career, life.
Yes.
How can parents and community members contact you?
I think among some of the ways, certainly by phone whenever you're having an issue, and I want to mention them. We have customer service representatives who answer the school district's main line. They are also a member of the team, so I'd be remiss if I didn't mention them. And the school district's main line, in which they help answer very diligently, is 512-414-1700, or specifically to my office, the Department of Communication and Community Engagement. The number there is 414-9832, and also on our website there are links and other ways that show how you can reach me if you need to. Be glad to hear from our constituents.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Reyne, thank you for taking the time to join us today.
Thanks for asking.
Of course. If you have suggestions for future topics or questions on today's presentation, feel free to email me at linda.medina@austinisd.org or call 512-414-9706. I'm Linda Medina Lopez, your host for UpCloseTV.